Welcome back, everyone, for another episode of Convos at Brunch. I am your host, Cladarius Lovall. We got a new face on board today, so we're going to start with that. We have Lanessa on here. Introduce yourself and how was your week and everything like that.
I'm Lanessa. The week is good. Weekend going by way too fast. So I just throw
Per
it to the next
usual.
person. Okay.
All right, we're going to go with Show No Emotions. How was your week? Introduce yourself, things like that.
Hey everyone, I'm Shirley, aka Show No Emotions, because emotions get you killed. I have had a great week. I no, honestly, like we got to think logically and not react out of emotions. That's why I show no emotions. But anyways, I've had a week. Um, yeah, been pretty good. As Vanessa stated, the weekend did go by pretty fast. But yeah, I had a great great weekend. Looking forward to this Lauren Hill concert tomorrow. Hopefully, she doesn't disappoint.
Sounds good. Sounds good. From there, we'll go to the Salacious Mona.
I'm not Salacious Mona anymore. Did I put that? Jesus Christ.
That's
Was
what you
I?
put. That's what you
Oh,
put.
man. I'm not that anymore. Why did I type that? Anyway, good week. I mean, very exhausting. I just worked a lot. But that's the life of a nurse standing up all day and working 12 and a half hour shifts. But good week. I mean, very productive. And, with Shirley, we're ready to see Lauren. We'll see how that goes.
Oh my gosh.
Y'all don't sound too enthused.
No, I am enthused. I just, want her to be there.
Let this not be the show. But we'll go to J Smooth Be Easy. How was your
What
week?
is
Introduce
good?
yourself.
Week was good. Work as usual. Didn't do anything special. Um, yeah, it was cool. It's cool. Weekend going by the way a weekend goes by because I'm not gonna be working as much next week, so it doesn't. I don't feel anything, so it's cool. Yeah, pretty much it.
All right. This week we have the episode being run by J Smooth Be Easy.
Stop it. Stop it.
Um, I don't know which questions he's gonna ask, so I'm gonna give the floor to you. Go ahead.
You didn't introduce yourself, did you?
I said I'm the host, but
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
my
I ain't
bad.
say
How was your
nothing.
week?
Nothing. It was busy. I was working like head down pretty much the whole week. I picked it up and then it was the weekend already. So yeah, it was real busy.
All right. So, how's everybody doing?
Good, good, good.
All right. I was really struggling not to come up with a topic, but to really like figure out what do I want to talk about or what should we talk about, and ask coworkers. They gave me all kinds of hell, and I don't know. I wanted to go one way, but depending on who showed up, I would just go the other way. So I had like a backup, and I had like my main. A lot of people confirmed, which was great, but then somebody did not. So I just went with what I went with. So it depends on who's going to be here, because like I said, I'm sensitive to what we talk about. I don't want to talk about kids if everybody ain't don't have kids. I don't want to talk about owning a home if that's not what's everybody's experience is. Like I want to have something where everybody can relate or put something towards it. So of course, it's marriage and dating, because that's like my favorite thing to talk about. Um, so before we get that icebreaker, what is a character from whatever movie, from whatever show that you relate to personally? Like they almost speak your life. Maybe not 100%, but for some reason, when you watch this character or actor in whatever movie or whatever show, you can see a glimpse of yourself. I'll go first while you guys are thinking. If no one has it, I see Shirley was about to say something. Go ahead, Shirley, do your thing. No, you wasn't.
No, you can go ahead. I'll come in after you.
Mine would be Steve Urkel from Family Matters. Not because he was, a nerd or anything like that. I think because he had a lot to give, and not everybody saw it at first, especially Laura. But for some reason, when he turned into Stefan Urkel, he became Mr. Most Wanted. It's like people started seeing him for his gifts, his talents, his style. And it really is the same guy. It's just a smoother version of him. And I think for me, whenever I see him, I was never that nerd guy, but I always was that guy where I could hang with the most popular kids, but then I have no issues talking to the quote unquote the nobodies, which nobody else would talk about, like, or the least popular kids in school. Like I can blend in anywhere, but sometimes it's like people would see me with the most popular kids and be like, I mean, I see why they're here, but how'd you make it in this group? So it's like it wasn't until later they'll say, you know what, I see why he's in this group. So I see a lot of myself in Steve Urkel when it comes to that aspect of his character.
I can see that. I can see that.
All right. Yeah, but good job.
I'm dead.
Who wants to go next? I mean,
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's a
I
hard
gotta
Yeah.
think about this. Yeah, it's a hard question.
My bad. It is a hard one. This is from Shirley and what she came up with 2 weeks ago, saying about the song of the week. I thought that was so dope. So I was just like, man. So instead of a song, like what character? And I've been thinking about it for 2 weeks, so that's why I had my answer ready.
You could have given us
Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys.
All of us. Okay.
So it took you 2 weeks and you and us to come up with an answer in like 2 minutes. Okay. All right.
Because it's something that you're familiar with already. It's nothing that, whenever you think of this, you can see this character and be like, you know what? That's this part of this character. That's me all day. That's me.
A doozy. Let me think.
Yeah, because the person I was gonna say they're not really like a character on a show or anything. And it was more so like what I aspired to become than what I feel like represents me currently.
That works. I'll take that.
So mine would be Oprah. Only because I feel like Oprah is just like, I'm sure she has stressors and things like that in life, but you would never be able to tell. Like every time you see Oprah or you hear from Oprah, it's just like her in her garden or like her with her friends Gail drinking wine, like just a calm, stress-free life or whatever. And I don't want to say that's because of money, because I think Oprah is also very wise, which is why she's so rich. Like she's a very good like businesswoman. So like I just aspire to have that calm, stress-free life where I could just enjoy the fruits of my labor. So yeah, that's what I see when I see Oprah.
It's
Lanessa.
hard. Like, you couldn't have gave me a hint. Like I was right here.
Oh, okay. When you take naps, that's what happens.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I went the 90s sitcom route because that's your answer. That's the path you led me down. So I would say not exactly, but if I had to pick someone, I would pick Moesha. Just like growing up in the show anyway. She was from LA, like lived around the hood. but was a part of a good family and trying to like be on the straight and narrow path, but was still surrounded by, her environment. So trying to like find herself within that. I related to that part of her character. That's all I got.
That's a good one. I like that, Moesha.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like when we were all younger watching, that's like why we watched Moesha, right? Like we could connect and see that like our resemblance in her, like the things that she was going through in school with her friends and all that stuff.
Right.
Good one.
I would say mine, if I had to think about it real quick, would I don't know if y'all know that character from The Wood, Mike. Yeah, I would say Mike would be it. And I'm saying that because strictly off the fact that I was like the only one of my homeboys in the neighborhood that went to a Catholic school. So like I felt out of place, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm going to the Catholic school and I have to come back to the neighborhood and still like interact with them, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. And like I felt like when him coming from North Carolina and being placed in South Central, like he was out of place in that certain situation. And then he found his clique of friends. They grew with each other, and as they grew with each other, you feel me, built their life and grew and became men. Some of them changed, some of them didn't, you know what I'm saying? But they still stuck with each other. So I think that's what my thing is.
I like how you said you went to Catholic school and you had to come back to them.
Like the peasants.
The
The illiterate ones.
The ghetto.
The ghetto.
Mona?
Oh my God, I don't know. Don't. This is hard. Okay, I'm gonna say a person, but it'll be a little controversial. However, hold on. Let me explain. I'm gonna go with Jada only. Jada Pinkett only because she's unapologetically herself and lives in her truth. And she says what she wants to say, and she doesn't care about the feedback. I mean, she cares, but she doesn't because she still says whatever the hell she wants to say and how she feels. And she lives in her truth. I'll say Jada. I like that. But her lifestyle, that ain't for me. However, I like that she, lives in her own shit and doesn't care.
And set it off? Jada and set it off or in real life?
I'm talking about Jada in real life.
Oh, okay.
John, it looks like you don't like that one.
No. I'm gonna accept it because I didn't get on Mona when I didn't get on Mona. I didn't get on Shirley when she said Oprah because I'm like, Oprah, what slave movie are you talking about? Like, but she was like, because I'm thinking like 12 Years a Slave, like or what other. I didn't know
She
which
didn't do a
Oprah
movie character or an actor or something like that.
Yeah, so I guess she used real life. I mean, that's.
Oh, I did too. Oh, John,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That was difficult.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
You should have dropped that in the chat a week
guys
before.
didn't answer the question.
I probably should have gave a heads up. Yeah. So today, well, it's off you, piggybacking off of you. So thank you for inspiring. So smooth. So we're talking about marriage. We're talking about dating. I don't want to talk about it from a boring standpoint, like. When did you know? But I do want to talk about it from a realistic place of, okay, this shit is real. Like this is not the cupcake stage. This is not the, fairy tale Disney ending. Like this is real life. Now, what are you doing about that? I have been blessed to attend many weddings and been a part of them. I've unfortunately have attended 2 weddings that have resulted in divorce. So I think about that all the time. Like, well, not all the time, but I think about that like, dang, like, how could I have helped or what went wrong or all this other stuff. So to me, why marriage? Why? Like, why are you here? Because you could easily do without, but for some reason you want to do it, and for some reason you're dating to get there. Why? Anybody can go.
I'll say for me, it's not only companionship, it's an accountability partner. It's just a partner all around, business partner. Because let's be very honest, people don't talk about it, but marriage is a business. Let's be honest. Like, you have to combine finances. You have to be on the same page when it comes to finances and all that. So for me, with Cliff, it's what really like got me with Cliff was the accountability part, because like I'm a very outspoken, I'm going to tell you how I feel, and that turns a lot of men off. A lot of men don't like women. They would say that I'm like too aggressive or too whatever, right? So but with Cliff, I feel like he took that and then he just challenged me, kind of like to be a better person. And I never really received that. Most people just accepted me for who I was and kind of like was too intimidated, I guess, to say anything or do anything against me or different from me. But Cliff was very, very firm. And I had to really bask in my soft girl era and become more submissive. And I had to like learn how to do all of that. And I actually saw this clip, and I hope I'm not going off on a tangent. Please stop me if I am. But I saw this clip where Beyonce was like thanking Jay-Z for making her a better woman, or helping her become a good woman or something like that. And I was reading the comments and everybody was like, oh, well, your mom should have done that. Like, why are you thanking Jay-Z? Why are you getting another man that power or the props of making you a better woman? And I guess I can relate to that because I 100% feel like Cliff made me a better woman. Like, I feel like I didn't really know how to truly be in a relationship or a wife or except until I was with Cliff and he like challenged me, and we challenged each other in general, like just to make sure that we can live comfortably in our lives and grow together. So like for me, that's why I wanted to be married. Like I wanted that lifetime partner, like someone. Cliff is my best friend, like someone I can turn to. He knows the ins and out. He can just look at me and tell me how I feel, and like just someone that's going to hold that mirror up to you and then challenge you and make you grow. So that was my why. And that's why I chose Cliff, was because of that challenge and that accountability. And yeah.
The reason I did it is kind of twofold. First of all, I saw my parents, you feel me, married, and how they raised they raised their kids. You know what I'm saying? They sons was in the house, the father was there, the mom was there, the mom did things, the dad did things. They was partners together. You know what I'm saying? They lived in the house and raised two kids and did it the right way. From my perspective, that's the right way. But and then the second fold is I wanted to I didn't want to be like somebody's baby daddy and have, you know what I'm saying, the kid here and the kid there. I wanted to pick my wife, have my kids, and then have my legacy behind that, you know what I'm saying? And it's not scattered all over the place. You know what I'm saying? My grandpa had 31 kids, you know what I'm saying? And like they could easily been scattered all over the place if my grandma didn't pull some of them in and raise them under her house and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I didn't want that kind of life for my kids and stuff like that. I didn't think it would be what I truly wanted. So I said, I got to get a wife that got a good head on her shoulders, and we can see eye to eye on most things. And then the other things we can't see eye to eye on, we can find a way to either see eye to eye on or just push it to the side. But yeah, so Shirley was that person, and then we went from there.
The question was the why marriage. Um, I think for me, it was just wanting like a solid foundation to build off of. I definitely was kind of a late bloomer to the whole dating desiring marriage, desiring children game. Like I wanted to live as much as my life as I could as an adult, travel, accomplish things, get degrees, whatever, the whole nine, figure myself out as much as possible. I think my experience was a little bit different because I had older siblings who had gone through like single parenthood and bad relationships. And so for a while, it had kind of turned me off to the concept. Like I knew like big picture, it was something that I always wanted, but the reality of it wasn't something like I felt was immediately within my grasp. And so until it was, or yeah, I guess for me, like I got married because I found somebody that I wanted to be married to. And I didn't want to do it until that was the case because I had seen so many people like settle and it go bad and the whole nine. So that was the motivator for me. And then I felt like it would be blessed because it was genuine and I was doing it with someone who had like minded values and desired the same thing. Like, not just the infatuation, but the desire to be married, like to put in the work, was more that I think that could sustain us.
Because it's definitely a lot of work, boy.
Indeed, it is.
It's easy. It's a piece of
Mona,
Well, I'm not married, so
why, this is what you want.
you didn't let me finish.
Okay,
You didn't let me
I didn't like
finish.
the way you.
You
I didn't like
cut
the way
me
you
off.
started that.
Well,
I didn't like the way you started.
finish my thoughts. Like,
Okay.
can they come through? My goodness. Let's see, you're taking the
You
hosting
ready?
to another level. It's only one show. Relax. But I mean, for me, like I'm not married, so why I would want to be married? I mean, I think it has a lot to do with like my upbringing. Like I was raised by a single mom, and even though like of course she had like men she dated and father of her kids and all this stuff, she was married once and it wasn't for long that they were together. And to me, I just saw her do a lot of life by herself without like a true companion or a long-term companion. So for me, like I desire to be married because I do feel like, having a companion and a best friend and a lover, like, of course there's trials and tribulations and you get through that, but that lifetime, lifelong, like you hear some people were married like 30 years, 40 years, like it's a beautiful thing, even although you have so many things you have to overcome and you have to put in the work, like Shirley and Ness said, I mean, that's just why I would want to be married. Like you want to have someone to enjoy your life with. Yes, your kids, that's a type of love, but it's not the same. So that's
How do you compare that? You said that it triggered. How do you compare that? A kid's love versus marriage.
well, I mean, I truly can't really say, but I mean, I feel like having a partner versus the love you have for your partner and the love you have for your kids is it's not the same, you know?
I agree with that.
Like once your kids leave the house, you still have love for them. You give them everything you pour everything you can into them to help them to set them up to leave you and go into the world and live their own lives. With a partner, you guys are building a bond and a love that you want to, for a lifetime to be together.
And that's what I think is the issue. Is I don't know if a lot of people think that, and I don't want to. Yeah. In my opinion, I don't know if a lot of women think that because I feel like once they hit that stage, I don't know why people be thinking, I'm gonna always be a mother. I don't know if he's always gonna be my husband. Like, why are you even thinking that? Like, they always have this. I gotta make sure that my kid is right, but then forget the husband. When I was single, I did a lot of this working at Home Depot, bored as hell. Don't know why I had that job. But I would talk to a lot of these husbands when they walk through. Anytime I saw a ring, and I'm just like, when did you know? What changed? Like what? I'm just asking them questions, just all up in their business. And I remember a man said, or several men said, when the kids come, it does change. And I'm like, why? And it's just like, it just does. So you just got to be able to play the background, but do enough to be seen. And I was just like, that has like set with me. So I know even when me and Lanessa was dating, I always say, yeah, I'm number one. I'm number one. The kid is 1A. You know, he don't have to be 2, but the kid is 1A. I'm number one. Like I see this stuff that people, you know, a lot of controversial online where it's just like, oh, when you make food, you make the man's plate first and then you feed the kid and all this other stuff. I can agree, but I'm not going to nitpick, you know, especially if the baby's still a baby. But those little small things I think really do matter, because I think there's a switch that happens when you have a kid, and like, I don't know, it almost feels like they don't think that in 20 years that kid is going to live their own life. That kid is going to be on their own path. It's like I'm their mother forever now. So it's just like, that's why I asked you to compare it. Like, how is that marriage love versus a child love? How do you compare it? Because a lot of people are willing to sacrifice that marriage love for that child, even though no one's asking you to do that.
I agree.
Yeah, but I also don't like the fact, like, it sounds a little like you competing with the kid, though.
And I don't want it to be like that, because I'm not competing.
Kind of I'm not saying you specifically, but I'm just saying, like, from, you know,
a hit
that
dog
thought process.
It be like that, though. I'm talking about in general, you know what I'm saying? But
I'm joking. But I mean, it kind of sounds crazy at some point, because some people sound like they're competing with their kid for attention and love, and it's a little bit weird.
I have that same reaction to that argument about who gets the plate first, because I think, you know, on the other side, a lot of men do not understand or are not prepared to like dive into parenthood head first in the same way that mothers are required to. I mean, even from a societal expectation, the pressure is just not there, it's not the same. So it's almost like, you know, the mother becomes the default parent. And so the dad feels left behind. And instead of being like, oh, I'm pushed to the back burner, or oh, I just got to deal with it, you know, I feel like it's an opportunity for men to lean more into parenthood, because in order for you to be number one, like, the wife needs to be number one as well. The mother needs to be number one as well. So instead of having a conversation of like, oh, I need the plate before the baby. Okay, well, you make the baby's plate and I'll make your plate. You know, the child's needs have to be met.
The baby
So
still
it's like, if you don't want to get left behind, then dive in, dig in.
That girl preaching.
Wow.
The baby still getting the plate first, man.
No, we both getting plates together. We reaching the table together. We reaching the table.
Now that was a good perspective.
That's very good perspective.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and I do think, like Lanessa said, like, mothers obviously become the default and have to take on majority of the obligations or responsibility when it comes to the child. And then some men do feel like, oh, well, you just got to play your part, be on the back burner because she's doing this for the kid or doing that for the kid. But just give a helping hand, and then she'll have more time for you. Like, because it's really just about timing. And sometimes women are exhausted because they're parenting all day. Because a lot of men have this mentality that they just need to provide and that they don't have to like step up and be an actual parent. So I think if you actually step into that role of parenthood, then you will see that the wife or whatever does have more time for the husband. So you don't feel like you're, you know, competing for attention from the child and things like that. Like, just be more hands-on, and then you won't feel that way, I feel.
I got a question. Y'all think that's still relevant, like these day and age? I feel like these day and age, bro, I see a lot of fathers that's freaking with their kids and doing shit with their kids. Like, I feel like that's like a beat back in the day type thing, but nowadays I feel like a lot of fathers is like on top of their kids with their kids. Like, I tell you all the time, I see this dude walking from our neighborhood, bro, walking his daughters to school every day. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there's a lot of fathers involved.
I do feel like a lot of men are more present now because they don't want to, either they grew up as in a single parent household and they don't want to, you know, make the same mistakes or whatever. So they are a lot more present. But then I think there's a difference of a man being in the house and actually being a parent. So like, I think like there's a lot of men that are staying in the house and they're there, but are they really like involved in the child's like life, or are they just that provider? Are they just going to work every day and then coming home and then too tired to do certain things, etc., etc.?
But you
But
going
like,
back to the previous stuff. That's the old way. I just gave you an example of a dude walking his daughter to like actually being involved. I'm talking about a lot of fathers are now, I think, involved in their kids' life. They're not doing the just provide no more for the most
I
part.
don't
That's
know
why
if
I think.
it's like more or less or whatever, but I do know, because I know of people that are married and the father is there, but the mother is still carrying the load. So I think we see certain glimpses. Maybe you'll see on social media they took the kid to the park, or like you see certain glimpses, but you don't really know what's going on in that household. And I still think that women at the end of the day are still going to be the default for like that child and that parent. Like, I don't think I think, again, I think men are there probably, but are they really stepping up into parenthood? I don't know. I know some situations where they don't, and I know some situations where they do. So I don't know.
There's
I thought they
definitely
did.
married single mothers out there.
Yep.
Absolutely.
They did.
um,
They did a study though, saying that there is these days a lot more fathers that have changed diapers, way more than fathers of the past. Like I'm already beating my dad because I was at the birth. He was 0 for 3 for all the births, so I already got him in that stage.
yeah, and I think that's a good point though. Like, there's still like a generational learning curve, if you will, right? So this is like one of the first generations, or maybe one or two generations, where the fathers are more present. But I still think there may be a little bit of a lag or a learning curve to like being as involved on the same level as a mother would. Not that it's a competition or a comparison, but just by the way that things have gone, right? Because there's the physical load, which I think is what you described, of like walking the kids to school. But then there's also a whole mental load that comes along with parenting, of like taking the vitamins and scheduling the appointments and keeping up with the teacher conferences and things that I think women are more prone to carry just by the nature of history, and then maybe by their, I don't know, the dynamics in the home. But I think men are not, or fathers are not doing as much of, but are catching up, because like
Yeah.
again, it's the first generation that's being more present. So now the next step is like being more involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
that.
I
That
do
one of the
agree with
most. Oh, I'm sorry, Mona. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead.
I was about to.
Go ahead.
I was about to change something.
Oh.
So that's why I wanted you to say something.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I agree with Nassim. There's a bit of women that I know that are married single moms, because yeah, the dad will show up to a game here and there, or they'll take him to a practice here and there, but day to day, picking a child up from school, taking them to school, doing homework, and getting them ready for bed, and dealing with parent teacher conference and all of that. Like, I see a lot of women, or I know quite a few women that's the load they carry, and in addition to still working a full-time job. And yeah, I mean, that's why, so I mean, I guess it's in their nature, and like Ness said, the dynamics of their household, of the mother takes on majority of those roles. But I think that's why a lot of women say their kids first, because I guess they're more involved in some aspects. I'm not saying everyone, but I do know like quite a few women.
I'm gonna
So
play devil's advocate a little bit, because I feel like there's also situations where a man or a husband or father, whatever, does want to be more involved. But if he doesn't do things the way that the mother
That's
wants
true
it to be
too.
done, or if the mother, it's not up to the mother's standards, because she's the nurturer, right? She's the one, she naturally is going to try to like protect the kid, keep them safe. And she probably already has things in a certain routine or a certain way. And then if the father comes in and does try to be more involved and does try to do things, but doesn't do it the way that the mother likes or the way that the mother thinks is right, then they kind of like take that away
Yeah,
from the father as well.
that's
Like, don't
true.
worry about it, I'll just do it type thing.
Yeah,
Or
that's
like,
true.
yeah,
And that's why some husbands fall back
yeah.
too. That is true.
Yeah. So I think like women, if you do, you got to allow the father to grow and be a parent. Let him make the mistakes, because that's how he's going to learn. Obviously you want to keep your child safe, so not anything that's going to be a detriment to the child's health or anything like that, but still, like, you have to kind of like relinquish some of that control, because you do want the father to be more involved, because in the long run it's going to benefit you the more involved the father is, because it takes a load off of you as well. So I think some women do need to relinquish that control a little bit and let the father do things kind of like their way. If they have a way of doing it, as long as it's not hurting the child, let them do it their way.
True.
Me and my best man, we used to, we don't argue much, but one of our deepest arguments back when we were in college, he used to always be like, my mother is first in my life. I was like, all right, that's cool. If you get married, well, that can't be the case. He's like, what are you talking about? Even if I get married, like, my mother is first. And I was like, bro, you tripping. And it used to be a back and forth, like, nah, Jay, you ain't gonna win this argument, whatever. And I'm like, bro, the only reason you saying this is because your pops wasn't here. That's the only reason you saying this. I was just like, just think about it. You're married to your wife. You have a son. Cool. Your son grows up and says that the number one woman in his life is not the woman he chooses, but it's your wife. You as the husband, how you gonna feel? That's your son saying your wife is the number one woman in his life. How you gonna feel? And that's when he started thinking about it like, yeah, I'm gonna be. I was like, he started looking at it like, okay, he's gonna have to change the way he thinks about that because he wouldn't want that. And I'm like, the only reason you're putting your mother first is because your pops wasn't there. So now you automatically put yourself in that man's role. Like, okay, I got to make sure business is taken care of. I got to make sure mom's is good. So you didn't look at it like, okay, my wife is first. You automatically looked at it like somebody else is replacing it. So we had issues with that. So I think talking to a lot of kids or a lot of people who grew up with just single parents, they're not glued to that mentality that my spouse is number one. Like it's almost like this disposable. Like, hey, if we work out, we work out. But if we don't, my kid is still gonna be straight. My mama's always gonna be my mama. My daddy's always gonna be my daddy. Blood is always gonna be blood. And I'm like, why are you even having that mindset? That's why I asked why.
Yeah.
I do think that's a single parent thing though. Like when you do see that, typically it is men that are raised by single moms that feel that way. But I also think that's a parent's fault. Because if I was a single mom, I would nip that. Like, no, your wife needs to come first. Like, no, I'm your mother. I think a lot of single moms put their sons in that position or in that role, like you were saying, that man role. And it's like, go find you a man. That's your son. That's not your man. Like, no, but it's true. Like they treat their sons like that's their man. And it's kind of, to me, it's kind of weird. Like that's weirdo behavior.
Listen, I can agree with you only to the part to where if you're a mother and your son is a LeBron James in middle school, you're going to protect the bag. You're going to make sure you're going to try to present yourself not only as his mother, but as his everything to protect the bag. And I'm not just saying that that's what she did. I'm just saying, like, I can see a mom thinking like that, like their child is their prized possession as terms of finances, wealth, and just opportunities that they wouldn't have gotten on their own. So they treat it like that.
That's a problem then. That's weird too.
It is. It is.
I would see if you want the best for your child and they have a talent and they enjoy that, participating in whatever talent and growing it to make themselves a better life in the future, but not for me. I'm not gonna think like that's not parenting. That's not healthy parenting, at least.
And the key word is child. So once that person reaches a certain age and they can become responsible for themselves, I don't need to be still acting like, oh, this is my baby, my child, I got to protect them. No, I instilled certain values in them, raising them. That way they can go off on their own and be successful. That's our role as a parent. So why is it when I see my son being successful, why do I need to still be there and protect it? And that's my child. No, my job is done. I did a great job. He's successful. And if I did a great job, I don't even need to be there to protect it because the values that I've instilled in him is going to guide him. He's going to pick the right woman. He's going to do well with his finances. He's going to break me off when he wants to. He doesn't have to, but when he wants, because I raised him well. And I feel like people don't want to let go after a certain age. Like once they reach a certain level, let your child go and live in this world, because your job is to prepare them for this world. Period. That's our job.
I don't think that's how a lot of people raise their kids, though. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people they wasn't raising their kids like that. I mean, maybe they didn't have the time. Maybe being single parents, they didn't have the time to do it right. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. But I feel like a lot of people raise their kids to like, bro, you got to be successful to help me and like
And
reach
that's
back, and
horrible.
bring me up. Like that's how a lot of people raise their kids.
And that's horrible. Me and Mona were literally talking about that when we were eating lunch today. I was like, I don't ever want to be in a situation where I have to call my son or my kids and ask them for money or to come and take care of me. Of course, if I get older, all that, of course, you know, I would, if I need help from my children or whatever. But like when I'm able-bodied and I'm putting that pressure on my child to take care of me, that's not their job. It's my job to take care of them. And I did my job. Like it's not their responsibility. Like my burdens shouldn't be my child's burdens or problems. Like,
Yeah. I think that too is a new generational mindset that is like coming with our generation of parenting to raise independent children. I think before us, parents are raising like codependent children. Like you're responsible for your siblings, you're responsible for us, you're responsible for your community. Like they were living in multi-generational households, like where everybody had to contribute, or if somebody was falling off, you know, no matter how many times your cousins steal from you, you still got to let him come stay with you when he needs somewhere to rest. So I think like now we're just now getting to the point where it's like, no, you on your own. I'm gonna give you all the tools, but once you got all the tools and you're of age, like it's time for you to go and do your thing. I know a lot of people who I have a friend that works with young teenage girls, and they're young 15, 16, having to pay like grown people bills, contribute to the rent, pay light bills, you know, with their little work checks that should be used for like homecoming and things, having to stay home and babysit their siblings so their parents can go out and do whatever they want to do. So it's just like a lot of parents unfortunately don't have that mentality.
yeah.
Like you need to pay me back for the sacrifices that I've been making for you as a parent. It's like I
And I
didn't
hate
ask.
that because I didn't ask to be. They didn't ask to be here. Like,
Yeah,
Which is crazy. You can't expect to be rewarded for the things you're supposed to
supposed
do.
to
Like you're
do.
supposed to be a parent. Yes, you're supposed to provide me with shelter, light, and water and food.
Yeah.
You can't get a reward for that. That's the
Yeah.
basics. That's what you're supposed to do.
And I think a lot of it too is like they didn't have the freedoms, the financial freedoms, the social freedoms to be able to go and do. So to like see your child like, oh, who you think you are? You just gonna go and do your thing and you're not gonna take care of me, you're not gonna break me off, nothing. Like so they try to punish him for that too.
Yeah. I definitely see that a lot and hear that a lot. But I agree with you. Like, I think our generation, because it was done to us, we're like, we're not doing that to our
Yeah.
children.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
good talk.
Uh, what is something? What is something that happened in the dating stage that you would love to continue to happen in your marriage?
Hmm.
Like
Jonathan with
this
the
happened
bangers.
early on. Stop it.
What did you say? I didn't hear you.
I said Jodner with the bangers.
Oh,
The man going platinum on this episode.
Oh my gosh.
let me pull out my list.
Ah!
Get the books
I
out.
think I will. I think I would say talk more because now we talk more about like stuff with the kids. We find our time to talk about, you know what I'm saying, us and stuff like that when we hit dates and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's kids, it's school, it's work, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So like I always bring up the time when me and Shirley sat on the park bench and we just talked pretty much like the whole night, you know what I'm saying? Like that stuff, you know what I'm saying? I like that stuff. So just picking your brain and figuring out, hey, you know what I'm saying, what you where where you going with here? Where you trying to go? What you trying to do? Yeah. I feel like now we still in the stage where she's still trying to do things. You know what I'm saying? And like I would like to pick her brain on what she would like to do and stuff. Like learn my wife more.
Yeah, we got to continuously learn each other because we grow and evolve, right, as people. So I agree. I think talking more about us instead of like family stuff or kids stuff. I think we have like our usual like pulse checks. How you feeling? Is there anything I can do more of in this relationship? Me and Cliff do that frequently, like check in to make sure that we're both like, happy and feeding each other's spirit or whatever. So, but I would agree that like because it used to just be us, like we could just talk about like us and like how we feel and what's going on with us. Like, so now it's like, oh, this happened with the family or this happened with the kids or this. Yeah. So I agree with that. Other than that, I think we still do dates and stuff like that. So yeah, just more time to talk and laugh with each other. Yeah. Mona, what is something you would want to maintain?
Oh, I'm like, what? I don't even know.
I'm not married.
Right. She says it's what?
Because the question said, continue within your marriage.
Yeah.
Probably, I guess like the same things you guys mentioned, because like we talk a lot about like us and like future and what you want and your goals and like just learning more about each other through letting the other person talk and express their passions and whatnot. So I would love to continue that because I can like talk forever, hours and hours,
And hours.
But
Not
then
your
again,
note. Not your note. Not your note.
but we also just met and just started dating, so there's a lot to learn. So yeah, and I would say like keep like that passion, be excited every time we see each other type stuff. I would hope so.
It's gonna come and go.
I would say dating, like dating, the romance, the butterflies, the writing, the little notes and little corny stuff that you do when you're first trying to impress or like get to know someone. Just never. I mean, you want the security of feeling like I got it, you're not going nowhere, but at the same time, you don't ever want the effort to stop of like, I know I got it, but I don't want to lose it. And, I want you to know that you still got it. So like always like that flirtatious, just fun. Like Mona said, the passion, keeping that up.
The honeymoon phase.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you're in the trenches, so we understand. But being able to get back, not getting too far down in the trenches that you don't come back up to the mountaintop, being like, okay, we need to come out of it and get back right.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. Gardner?
You
want to answer your own question?
I'll just let me see. In the dating stage.
So you didn't think about this one?
I didn't think about it.
The easiest question. So you wasn't ready?
I did not. I asked. Yeah, I didn't think about this one. Usually, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I don't really have an answer to this one. I definitely just want to. I think the small things matters the most to me. So like Cliff said, just sitting at the park talking, like that matters. Like doing random things. I think a couple of weeks ago, she was just like, let's go for a walk. And I'm just like, why? And she's just like, let's just go for a walk. Like just get out of the house. Like it's just like, now I'm thinking like, but the kid is coming with us. Love my son.
The kid?
Yeah, I love my son and everything.
The
he's
boy.
coming with us. So now.
The boy. So I don't think you can leave him in the house by himself at this age.
At least not yet. Not yet. Not yet. But yeah, so we walking, and I'm walking a little bit further out. And she's like, "Do you want to wait for your family?" And I'm just like, "Oh my gosh!" I'm just like, I can't do nothing right now. Like this is horrible.
He probably had those skates off. Skating off.
Listen, my patience.
I guess I just walk fast. And what's crazy, I would walk when I feel
No,
like
it
I'm
was
walking
just
too
like
far ahead.
everything with him is like a
Fast. Right.
You know, where are we going? Like, we're not just going to take a drive. Like, we're driving to somewhere. We got to
just relax. Yeah.
Sometimes I just have to remind him to like just be in the moment. We have nowhere to be. Why are you walking so fast? Like, just
smell the roses. Take it. Just relax.
That's because he in the flea market every weekend. You know, you gotta be on your toes. In the flea market, you gotta walk swiftly.
So I think it's just doing the small stuff is crucial to me. Like it's little things that set me off, and it's little things that get me right. Like no, for real. It be our arguments don't be like huge stuff that people really go through. It'd be like something small.
We know that. We know you very well.
Okay. So that's how, to me, that it's the little things that matters to me. So little things.
Lanessa, we know it's not you, baby.
Get the heck out of here.
Blink twice if you need help.
Blink twice, Lanessa.
Get the heck out of here. Let me see. When is marriage / dating the most boring?
John, are these questions off the dome? I don't see you.
Yeah.
They are?
Yeah.
Nah, this AI generated. Don't listen to John.
I'm like, I thought we had a conversation. Now this is coming.
You see, none of the questions I wrote down I've asked, so she knows.
I can't.
I'm feeling where the conversation is going. I'm just like, okay, we need to talk about that. When
the
is
man going double platinum?
Yes.
No
Get
features.
the heck out of here. So when is marriage / dating the most boring?
I would say probably when people get too comfortable. Like whether it be from whatever aspect, too comfortable like sexually, or like too comfortable with actually like, actually doing things together, like, or like maybe physical appearance, those type of things. I would say maybe that's probably when it gets a little boring, because it's like, yeah, we've known each other for a while, we're together, but you still gotta keep the interest, like whether it's from how you dress, how you look, being spontaneous, or like whatever activities you used to do before, you're not doing them anymore, like, from whatever aspect. I mean, that's my opinion.
I would say when you stop focusing on the other person, I think that'll cause you to just focus on yourself, and then you gonna be bored. That other person gonna be bored. They not gonna, you know what I'm saying? They're not gonna feel the love. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not even really paying attention and seeing them.
I like that, Cliff. Shirley.
This is the first time I don't have nothing to say, right?
Hey, look at Cliff.
I don't know. I honestly don't know, because I don't know. I really don't.
All right, I got my answer. I think, for me in my marriage, I think my marriage is most boring when my wife is my wife. Like when she's just my wife. Like,
What you talking about, Wiz?
you stupid. Because first of all, Lanessa is as innocent as the word. Like, if I try to take her to court for anything, before God, before a judge, before people, she is going to be innocent because she is. She's just going to be innocent. Like, I can't blame her for this. I can't go to God and be like, God, you told me my woman would know how to cook and she don't cook. And God would be like, but she cooked Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Well, you told me my wife would be freaky and we haven't gotten any. Well, you went to work, you came back and took a nap. Like, everything is going to be blamed on me. It's not going to be blamed on her. But whenever it's like we get into those situations of marriage where I'm not with my friend, like I'm not with that person who I can do almost anything with, it's boring. And when I say like my wife, like we get into this mode to, if there's like friction in our marriage, she goes into this extra wife mode where she is not going to be blamed for nothing, no matter how I've made her feel. She gonna cook, she gonna clean, she gonna be on it. She's gonna be blameless. Like, she goes over and beyond, where in most cases, most women would be like, nigga, I ain't doing nothing for you. You done pissed me off. Like, when I piss her off, she goes into this extra doing things
You
so
see Shirley face.
I can't add on to anything. So if I come in, I'm like, watch, tomorrow morning ain't gonna be no breakfast because I know she mad because of what I said, whatever. The next morning, big old breakfast. I'm just like, but it ain't, and I can feel that it wasn't made with love. It was made with responsibility. Does that make sense? It's like she made it, and I can't even enjoy it because I know that wasn't love. I know that was, can't say you didn't eat. Yeah, but I didn't even enjoy this because I know your love wasn't in this. It was more like I refuse to be blamed. You get what I'm saying? It's like somebody don't want to be blamed. Like, they don't want to be the cause of something going downhill. It's going to be up on you. They keep passing the ball on your side. So it's like when there's a turnover that's caused, it's going to like, who had the ball last? Not her. I had the ball last.
But why do you look at it as she's doing it because she doesn't want to be blamed? Like, for me,
I'm not looking at it like that, but it feels like I can't blame. Like, if I'm reaching to try to find something, I can't use that. I can't use she don't cook. I can't use she don't clean. I can't use she ain't there sexually. I can't use she's not thinking about me, or I'm not in her prayer life, or I can't use anything because she kind of like checks everything. Like, she gets into this extra focus mode. I call it Brady mode, but more like, I'm gonna make sure I do everything right. I even told her, I was like, yo, it's hard to take you to court because I would lose. Because anything I would bring up against you, you would have something against it and be like, Your Honor, what he's saying isn't true because bam. I'm like, damn, that is true. She did. So it's just like, when she is just my wife, I feel like it's the most boring because I don't get that friend that I can literally do everything with, talk to about everything, just do random stuff. Like, that's just it's just us playing. It's like kids playing at a playground. All they have is a sand and a slide and a swing, and it's the world to them. It's like I feel like we lose that. So whenever she is just my wife, it's just boring.
I think the words that you're using is accurate and important because the reason why I do that is because that's the thing that gets his attention, you know, because again, Jodner, everything is win or lose. Everything is a competition. So if something went wrong, there is somebody to blame. It is somebody's fault. If we lost the game, somebody dropped the ball. So when I know it's not me, which is most of the time, the only way I can get him to realize is like, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, regardless of how I feel like you're treating me or what's going on. I'm going to say my piece and I'm going to keep doing me. But that's all you're going to get is the wife. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do and nothing more because you're not deserving of that right now. So until you come to the realization of your part in this and are taking accountability for that, that's when you'll get the friend, the fun loving, you know, homie, lover, friend, person back. But until then, it's strictly business. That's the way to get his attention.
But I think that's kind of admirable because, like, some women can't put the emotions to the side and keep it moving strictly business. Like the fact that you can still make his food and fulfill all your wife obligations, being in a different emotional state, not even truly being like emotional connected because you're upset for whatever reason. I think that's awesome.
That is the definition of a wife. That's what that is. You're supposed to do it anyways.
But for me, like my rationale is like I'm gonna do everything I can, because at the point that I'm not, that's when you should truly be concerned. Like I have given up. Like it's just a wrap. So you need to hold on to that glimmer of hope because if you take advantage of it, like that's it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think you have to know your partner too. Like one of the best things that I think that we did was not just doing like our love languages, but doing our languages of apology, like understanding what it means to apologize to the other person and how they receive that apology. Is it just saying I'm sorry and then doing the same thing over again? Is it not doing the same thing? Is it trying to make up for the bad behavior? So like understanding what means I'm sorry to the other person, because it could go the other way too. Like he could very well be the type of husband that is just gonna let me do everything that I'm doing and still be like, oh, but she's still making my plate. So okay, I guess she's, I ain't gotta say I'm sorry, because she's like, you still have to be convicted within yourself, regardless of what the other person is doing, to eventually come back together.
Yeah, makes sense. It's pretty much that's what's like you said, that's what's gonna get his attention. I don't think Cliff allows me to get bored, and if he's bored, he tells me, Shirley, I'm bored. Shirley, you're not doing this. Shirley, I need you to do more of this. Shirley, why are you not doing this? His favorite thing is, I always know when he's bothered or when I need to do more or less of something, when he's like, can I ask you a question?
Just a simple question. You feel me? It was on my mind.
So I don't like, I get bored because Cliff is a person that pays attention to detail. He'll like, if I say, oh, I need a new pink shirt. Tomorrow I have a pink shirt on the bed. And I'll just like randomly say it. Like, so I don't think I have the room to get bored because he pays so much close attention to detail. But then I also think on the flip side, because he does that, he expects that from me. And I'm totally opposite. I'm not like that. That's not how I show my love or express it or whatever. So that's when he will say like, okay, I need you to do this, or I need more of this. And I mean, I appreciate the him communicating that with me, whatever. But yeah, there's really no room for that because he's gonna tell me.
We get into this stage where social media is everything. Compare, contrast. Oh, how long has it been? Why aren't you here yet? How do you make you and yours like authentic to where you're really, it's your own fingerprint? Like you're not trying to mimic somebody else. I know me and Ness, we said one thing we would never do. We would never write a book. Because it feels like everybody who's written a book, it's like, what are those words that you put down? Like, what did they mean to you? Were they authentic at the time? Whether it's just a product to sell, you're just trying to make money off? Because it's like you didn't live to those words. Several people we know who've written books, and it's just like, what happened to your marriage though? You know what I'm saying? It's just like, what were you waiting for since your book is called The Wait? Like, what happened? And why are you now promoting singleness as if that's the new thing? That's what you should be. So it's just like we said, we will always stay away from. We don't want to be put on a pedestal. Don't put us on a pedestal because we dive off head first. Our marriage is our marriage. We do a lot of things that is not traditional, but it works for us, and that's it. And the one thing I always tell people when they get married, when they have kids, whatever, I always say my only advice: do it your way. Because when you do it your way, then you live with the results. Like it was your way. But for some reason, when we start mimicking these people, we wanted to be Will and Nita when we were younger. We wanted to be Oprah and whoever she's with still. We wanted to be all these big names. And then when we see, quote unquote, the demons that they have to have dealt with throughout their marriage, it's like, I don't know how she caught up with that. I don't know how he dealt with that all the time. Or I don't know what. It's just like you didn't know what they were going through. So how do we remain authentic to our own fingerprint versus trying to blend and look like everybody else? Because it's just so easy to do that.
I think that's just people's personality. Like, I say that because you have certain people who always just march to the beat of their own drum. And then you have people that are always just follow other people and do what other people do. So I think that's just like your personality. Like, I know for sure Cliff and I march to the beat of our own drum and do things that make sense in our household and make sense for our family. Like, we really don't care about outside noise. We really don't have people in our business to even give us an opinion. So I just, like you said, like your relationship is your relationship. Every relationship doesn't look the same, won't work the same. There's some things that you guys might do that works for you but won't work for us. So we just do our own thing. I think a lot of people that do look at social media and all that stuff is people that just don't have no other guidance. They don't know no other way. Like maybe they didn't have the guidance in their household to know what a relationship is supposed to look like or whatever. So they turn to social media or TV or whatever. But I think if you're someone that marches to the beat of your own drum and makes your own rules, you're going to do that in every aspect of your life, whether it's a relationship or whatever.
I agree with that.
You know, it's hard hearing that because it's like being in church all my life, I've heard how it's supposed to be, you know, the roles of a man, the roles of a woman, you know, don't do this until marriage and wait until this and all this other stuff. It's like they tell you all the rules of not to do, but they don't preach on, okay, now the doing part. Now, what's up? This is what can happen. This is what you can't. It's like they limit you so much on what to be. And then when you're able to do it or of age, they don't really want to talk about the good of marriage. Like I hear so much, you know, wait till marriage for whatever reason they want you to wait till marriage. But then I don't hear anything else about, okay, how to stay married. Like preachers are not preaching that. It's just like, are you able to march to your own beat when, you know, a lot of people are raised in church, like they have that where they preach down their throats, like, hey, these are the steps that you should follow. These are the steps that you should follow. So how did you get to that place where you march to your own drum?
I've always you know me, John. I've always marched to my own drum. No shade or to anyone else that's religious or spiritual, but couldn't no preacher tell me how to march or live my life. I use it as a guide or moral compass to be right, to be good, you know what I mean? But I'm going to be Shirley and what makes Shirley happy and comfortable. So like, and I just always did what I wanted to do. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I just never, like, even, you know, parents always tell you, no boyfriend, no boyfriend, no boyfriend. And then when you're 25 years old, why are you not married? Well, man, you told me my life not to get a boyfriend. And then, okay, let's say 25 years old, I do go get a boyfriend. I don't know what to do with this man to become a wife because you never, you always tell me what not to. So I've always peeped that, like, early on. So I've always just, well, you're not going to tell me what to do. I'm just going to do my own thing. First of all, I have a problem with authority. I don't like nobody telling me what to do at all.
Damn shit.
You tell me what to do, I'm going to do the opposite just because you told me to do it. So I've always, I don't know. I've just always, I don't know.
I'm similar. I've always been in my family. I'm the one that's like the different one, the one that thought different, the one that did different shit. Like between all my cousins and me, like I'm the one that looks like the odd man out. But um, like I've always done my own thing. If it don't make sense to me, bro, and if you can't make it make sense to me, I'm not gonna do it, and I'm gonna do what I need to do, regardless. I'm gonna do the thing that makes sense to me. But that's how I've always been, and I found somebody that is the same way, and luckily she listens sometimes under the authority of myself. But you know what I'm saying? We had to work on it.
I'm telling you, man,
I
kudos.
said,
Because boy, this was the hardest head, let me tell you. But also kudos to my therapist, Georgia Bryce. Shout out. Because she she definitely
You
again
paying for this promo?
Mr. What Mona say?
I said she paying for this promo.
But no, I really, and again, that's something I had to learn being in a relationship. Like, I don't look at Cliff as an authoritative figure over me, but I got to respect my man and his wishes. So it's like, but no, I don't know. I never listened to people. Everybody always said I had a hard head, stubborn, all of that. So I'm not, I don't know, genre. I never listened to the church. You know, I went to your daddy church one time and never go back. So I don't know what to tell you.
I think you just can't be like, you can't compare yourself to others. It just sounds like you just have to like do what works for you in your relationship. Like you can't compare yourself to other people. And honestly, you gotta stay off social media. These people be living lies, and people aspire to be it, and it's all just like it's a persona, it's a fake. You gotta live for you and your relationship, not for others.
Yeah, I was the opposite. I was the youngest, so both of my older siblings were more rebels. So I was always the one that, wanted to do exactly what was expected of me to make my parents proud and like not be the troublemaker or to, just go along with the flow, not shake the boat. So being with someone who is the complete opposite.
About to say, you know,
It was, it was challenging, but it was also like liberating to like see what that feels like and be encouraged to live life more along those lines and more on my own terms. So I think that played a big part in it as well. And then realizing, like, again, what Mona said, like a lot of these people is living a lie. So just making the decision to like be my authentic self and live in my truth, regardless of what anyone else is saying or doing, is key.
Yeah.
whose relationship do you look up to?
Nobody.
Like
No
you
one.
don't, you don't take everything, but for some reason, you know what they look alright. Just a
Nope.
glimpse.
No, but
Cosby,
because no, you don't know what the
the
heck goes
Cosby
on
Show.
behind closed doors.
Everything that glitters ain't gold.
Yeah.
No, I look
Cosby
up to
Show
the
is what I
people
married
that
my shit
I
in.
personally know that are like really doing it. We all used to admire celebrity relationships and stuff, but now it's like the people that I know in real life who are and still don't know everything, but it's like at least I know it's in real life.
If I could say some, like if I were to like have someone to look up, I would want it to be some like a couple that's like honest. Like I don't need to know your business, but like there's trials, there's tribulations. This is how we overcame this. Take what you can from it, and if it applies for you, it applies. If it doesn't, that's fine too. But like I don't. I mean, I don't. As of right now, I don't really. I wouldn't say anyone really, because like you just never know what's going on behind closed doors. There's people being physically, emotionally, or both abused. There's like we were saying, what single moms, single parent, single moms that are married, like or vice versa. Like it's just not always what people put out into the world.
I guess like if you don't like just from the outside looking in perspective, because everybody has their issue.
Yeah.
But I honestly, even from the outside looking in, there's really, I wish I could look up to someone and say, hey, I love the way that you guys are in your relationship and how you guys are moving. Do you have any advice? Or, you know what I mean? Not necessarily wanting to be like them or anything, but just, get some little drops of wisdom on how to maintain this relationship for, the lifelong journey that we're on. But I honestly don't have anyone. I wish I did, but I don't have anyone like that's an elder or older than me that's still married, still going, and still happy.
I
That
think
I
that's a. Oh, well, I was gonna say I think that's a consequence of like that past generation. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of them split up, and like I know Haitian households. You know what I'm saying? My people was married. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't give no knowledge of what the internals of their relationship or struggles and stuff like that was. So like it was no knowledge passed nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So we don't have nobody. So we pretty much like Vanessa says is the generation that's gonna start it, and then we gonna pretty much teach our kids, oh, this is what we went through, such and such. But like we the ones gonna start it up.
yeah, I don't know. Mm-mm.
My parents and Nessa's parents are very much alike when it comes to like relationship. You would have thought they were Haitian, but because it's just there's a lot of stuff that they kept in secret. The mom always protects the dad from looking a certain way, and then when you get older, something now little stuff slides out. My mom tells me more now than she ever did, and I'm just like, Dad did. Like I literally just found out that dad wasn't at any of the births. I know he missed my birth, but I thought he went to at least my baby brothers. Or my mom was like, nope, he didn't. He wasn't at any one of them. I'm just like, really? Like, why am I just not finding out? Like, you didn't say any of this. She's like, yeah, I was in the hospital, didn't know what to do. Then they said they're gonna keep me overnight, and I snuck out with my baby, and we left because I didn't want them to charge me. I'm like I didn't know any of this. So I'm like, you stole me at the hospital? Huh? Like, what? She's like, I didn't want them to charge me because giving birth cost. And I guess back then, Jackson Memorial Hospital, if you go out through the front door, no one's stopping you. They think they just discharge you, but really, she just wanted to get out. So I was free.
Don't worry, a little off.
You said what?
Amber alert on your mom, man.
Jackson, Jackson Memorial Hospital, yeah. So, what did I say all that to say?
Sorry, I cut you off.
I don't know what was my point.
My bad.
You were
I'm
saying
just saying, like your parents didn't really like give you the
Yeah,
tools.
they don't tell us, but our parents are very similar. Like right now, my pops has been sleeping in the other room for a long time, so they're not even sleeping. It's like they're what is it, roommates or something like that. And I'm just like, but from the outside looking in, oh, it looks like a happy home. And I'm just like, nah, they both tripping. Like they both tripping. And I know Nessa has very similar ways where her parents did the same thing. And I'm just like, we don't want to look like that. And we know how that feels, So even with us, like we try to nip things in the bud. And sometimes I make the process a little longer than usual just because it's hard to get out of this flesh. But that's like what you would have thought was our goals, which is our parents, is not our goals. Because we don't want that. Because now that, we've lost her mom a couple years back due to COVID, and you can see the way the father suffers. It's like so much regret. And it's just like, for her to experience that pain, she's like, man, like this could have if you would have done what you're supposed to do, you would not be here. Like you wouldn't feel these emotions this raw like this. So I guess I can say for me, I guess we don't have anyone either. Who you thought or would have wanted it to be, nah, it's not it.
I guess you can come from a positive, so at least we're learning what not to do and how, be different for our children. Have the conversations that they never had with us, we can have with our children. Like my son the other day asked me how he and his daddy met. Like I never had that conversation with my mom. I don't know how my mom and my father met. So it's, I guess we can learn from those mistakes, get something good out of it.
we the generation that's gonna change a lot of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like we the ones because we had it so bad from the outside looking in.
Yeah, I think our parents did a great job of
Well, that
taking
was my
care
questions.
of us, but like emotionally, mentally, they just did not have a clue. So I definitely think we're going to change the game in that regard of like being more concerned about each other's feelings, our kids' feelings, the freedom to express yourself were not things that we experienced growing up. So we
I
definitely going to.
mean, granted, I give them the grace. You know what I'm saying for the fact that they was just head down grinding. You know what I'm saying they didn't have no time to cater to your emotions. You know what I'm saying like, hey, these bills got to get paid. You got to go to school. I don't care, bro. Like, get out of here. So I, you know what I'm saying? I give them grace for that. You know what I'm saying? And we have more of a like we probably made a because of them we made a better financial leap to where we
Right.
can sit back. You know what I'm saying? Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You know what
I
I'm
was
saying? We
just,
sit back and look and you know what? How is my kid feeling today? You good? You all
That's
right? So,
true.
you know what I'm saying? We did something. So
Yeah.
they helped out on that process. Though.
I was just thinking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like they were at the bottom of the triangle, right? They're just trying to give us our basic necessities, shelter, food, water. Like we have a little more resources, a little more education, a little more that we can reach. You know, we're a little more at the top, which was I think self-actualization or something is the top of the pyramid, where you actually have the time to be more self-aware and realize what you want out of life and how you want things to be and things like that, and you can pass it on to your children. I think, yeah, I was definitely thinking Maslow hierarchy of needs. We just have more resources than they did.
Hmm.
But they put more responsibilities on their shoulders too. So it's like you can't be coming out here trying to make ways for you and your family, thinking of half of Haiti back, then trying to figure out how to help them too. So it's like they put weight on their shoulders that was I'm not gonna say unnecessary, but it was just a lot for them to be able to try to juggle. And I don't know what type of outcome they wanted. Maybe just seeing a lot of family come to the States is what they wanted. If that is the case, then I guess they succeeded. But you know, when these people that you put on your shoulders come to America, it's not the same. They don't put you on their shoulders. Now they're thinking about their family or their loved ones or their ones back that they left in Haiti that they got to get to the States. It's like a triangle of we got to pull these people to Haiti, pull these people. I think my pops probably him alone maybe got about 60 heads from Haiti to come to America legally and maybe not so legally. But it's just to put that pressure on yourself when you
Trump coming for you. Trump coming for y'all.
oh no he's not. You know
Yeah,
why? Because
that
Biden put the thing for all the Haitians to come to America for 2 years, as long as they have somebody to say that they're responsible for them.
So
Trump making a comeback next election. He coming for all y'all.
Good luck, because they all legal now. That's the problem.
Okay,
They
I can
good
see why our
now.
parents did it though.
I'm joking.
I can see why they did it though, because like even then, you know what I'm saying, they was at the bottom of this hierarchy in the United States, but you got to think they was looking back at Haiti like, bro, that is below bottom. You know what I'm saying? And I got a
Yeah,
brother over there. Let me get him over here, and maybe he
yeah,
can at least be at the bottom.
I mean, that's the story of migration. Like, that's what this country, like, everybody does it, not just Haitians. Like, you send one person over, they get the means, they go and get granny or mama or aunt. Like, they bring more people over. Eventually, you have your whole family over, and then boom. Like, I mean, that's the story of migration. Period. Like, that's not synonymous to just Haiti.
yeah.
And then again, I think that's where that whole communal responsibility thing comes from too. So being responsible not just for your family, but for your extended family.
Mm-hmm.
And so just now getting back to individual mindset of like, I'm concerned about my immediate family, but everybody else, like you hear, that's all I can do.
I agree with that.
I will
'Cause
say it was a bit different. My mom was like, I'm not here. I'm gonna get my kids over here, but I'm not here to bring all y'all over here. And then my mom would be like, okay, I'm giving you this money. You better start a business or something because you're not getting no more money from me.
That's it.
Yeah, but I think that's still the communal thing because she sent money back, you know what I'm saying, to
Yeah.
start something. I think now, you know what I'm saying, like Lanessa's saying, we more like if it don't benefit me and these two kids and my wife in this house, bro, like I don't necessarily know what's going on in y'all house. You feel me? Like I don't know. I mean, y'all good. You feel me? Y'all all right, right?
Yeah. But do you guys think that like stuff like that held or holds people back? Because like Mona and I was having a conversation earlier about like how your family can sometimes be a hindrance on you in your life, and you feel obligated because like that's your mom or that's your brother or that's so and so, and you kind of feel obligated to assist them. Like, do you think that held like our families back?
The ones that did it, yeah. You know, my mom and dad, you know what I'm saying, they ain't necessarily like bring people over, but they did send money back a lot. They tried to start businesses with some of my little cousins. So like they sent a lot of money. I think that money could have been used to maybe get them out of Lauderhill, you know what I'm saying, and go somewhere else. So I mean, I think it did hinder. If you sent back, if you pulled out or try to pull forward, I think it did hinder you because it's taken away from your family.
Yeah, I think it's pros and cons to both. I can see why my pops did it because that's what he was about. To be able to have family, to be able to see people on this side of the the earth, like in America, I think that was all joy to him. To be able to have dinner and every one of your family members is here, like that was big. Even though it cost us student loans and good credit, but it's just like for him that was enough. But like for my uncle, it was for him, he was about making sure that he's debt free. So all his kids could have gone to college and be debt free because he had money aside for them. Now, did they take that route? No. But in his mind, he did what was best for his family. But then because he did that, now he looks like I don't know what Haitians do to people when it's just like you don't send money, you don't communicate. It's almost like, oh, so you doing you? So we don't mess with you. So it's almost like now he's grown. I see him. And I'm like, dang, you got gray hairs. It's been that long before I seen you. But it's like it has because it's like he went to his place where he's a beautiful home. Family seems good from the outside looking in, but then he's not communicating with other. I think it took 26 to 27 years or something like that before he ever even stepped foot on in Haiti. And family was like, man, you never come back. As soon as you left us, you never came back. Like, what happened? What happened? Got on him, got on him. So I think he lost that whole family, being able to create memories, being able to grow with your loved ones. I think he lost that because he chose the route of, I got to make sure mine's is straight. I got to make sure they're straight. And like I said, like now that the money wasn't even used for what it was purpose for, now he's taking it to try to do kind of like make up for some of that, building a house in Haiti, which I never understand why. But that's now has been a new project. So I think pros and cons to both. It's either you're going to have your family, have the love and support, but still be in debt in certain places, or you debt free, but then it feels like you don't have the whole support of your extended family because they don't want to show up or they're just not there.
But I just think there's a balance in everything you do in life. And there could be a balance of where you still help people, but then you still make sure that your family is your number one priority and they're fine. But I don't like that they cut him off because he wasn't sending money and stuff. Like for me, I'd be like, I'm
Yeah,
not fooling with y'all. Like I would not
yeah,
like to me that's not so you gonna cut me off because I don't send money and I spend my money on my family? Mm-mm.
Absolutely.
See, I would have cut
yeah,
them off.
yeah.
Too late. We already cut you off.
Well, so be it.
Beat you to the punch.
So be it. I
Like
saw this
obviously my family's
meme.
not Haitian, but I think that's what happens with multicultural families. Like when you come to America, like you not only assimilate, into the culture, you adopt some of the mindset too. And that mindset is an individualistic one. Like the American dream is like you work hard, you get yours, everybody else is kind of on the fringes. And I think, celebrities who come out the hood or whatever, and then they're expected to like go back and give back. And the thing with that, like you said, Shirley, is balance. It's like, it's never going to be enough. You know what I mean? No matter how much you give, it's always going to be room to give more. And always going to be those people like, oh, well, they gave me this one time, but then after that, I ain't heard from them. So it's like at some point you have to be like, okay, enough is enough. I have to put my family first, and then whatever I can do beyond that, I'll do.
Yeah.
You gotta watch out for those people that have a problem with you putting yourself first.
Man,
that's weird.
That's weirdo behavior.
Weird, and that's a red flag.
For real.
True.
Speaking of red flags.
How long is this episode?
No.
Okay.
No. This.
I didn't. You gotta step in. You gotta step in.
Hey, this is his. He running the show, man.
Oh, okay. Well, my phone has 10%, 5%.
I had to put the charger, man.
That I am holding the phone with my hand this whole hour and a half.
Okay.
I got 3% actually. 3%.
Okay, it's just a yes/no question. It's like, are red flags, are they the worst thing in the world when dating or in marriage?
No.
No.
You know why? Because red flags are cautionary tales that you need to listen to. I love red flags because when I see a red flag,
okay, slip. Okay,
that lets me know how I need to conduct myself, and I rather know how to conduct myself than me not know anything at all. So please show me all the red flags because I need to know how to behave around you.
I mean, I think red flags is they case by case basis, bro. Like nobody, like everybody ain't got the same red flags. Even though people be making lists of red flags and shit like that, bro. Everybody ain't got the same red flag. Like something I might not like, you know what I'm saying? The next person gonna like it, bro. Just like individual people. Yeah, so I don't know. But that's why if it's case by case basis like that, and if you show me a red flag, I could be like, okay, maybe this person didn't necessarily know that I don't necessarily like this thing because it's a red flag for me, bro. It's not a red flag for the last person they was with or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So
everybody,
I gotta take it like, hey, you might not know, but I don't like this.
Everybody has red flags, like, to me, it just depends on how the severity of it, whether you should really completely cut that person off. But if somebody's willing to like work on themselves and grow and take accountability, that's a different, that's a different way of dealing with it. I wouldn't say I would have completely cut them off. That's why I said, I mean, it's not a bad thing, but also it lets you know, okay, hey, this is what you're doing. You can address it. If you take accountability, you're willing to work on it, that's great. And maybe we can move on. But if you're not, then hey, we got to go our separate ways. It just, like Shirley said, it lets you know how we're going to to going forward and how to act accordingly or whatever.
Yeah, I agree that people have different red flags of what might bother one, might not bother the next. But I also agree of giving people the opportunity. Like if I express something to you that I don't like it, I'm going to give you the opportunity to correct it or whatever. And then if you don't,
to cut that off.
But there are certain red flags where I'm not even going to give you the opportunity because for like,
yeah, there are universal red flags. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody thinks cheating is a red flag. You know what I'm saying? There's universal ones too.
Controlling, crazy jealousy. There are non-negotiables.
Criminal behavior.
Definitely.
But I do feel like once you get into a relationship, red flags can get not easier to ignore, but harder to like walk away from or be like a deal breaker. Like once you caught feelings or once you got kids in the picture and there's like a lot more to lose, I think that's when it can be harder to like assess, okay, what do I do about this red flag?
People start to ignore them. I know I have.
Man, this was dope. Thank you guys. Sign us off, Cliff.
This was another great episode, man. Yeah, man,
phone
we
is
went
gonna
for an
die.
hour and a half. This was a good episode. So I appreciate y'all for showing up. We'll be meet again in
1%.
another 2 weeks. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Good job,
Great
Jodner.
Jodner.
All right,
All
y'all.
right.
Ness, it was amazing having you.
Thank y'all